I know. False advertising. Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. Um, yeah, I just wanted to do this short little video. Good morning, guys. Like I said, congratulations to Jey Uso and Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair, the winner of the Women's 2025 Royal Rumble, and Jey Uso, the winner of the 2025 Men's. So most likely, Jey Uso will go on to face Gunther at WrestleMania for the heavyweight championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, and Charlotte Flair will go on to have her third match with Rhea Ripley in WrestleMania history. So, but I wanted to talk a little bit, and that's WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. I wanted to talk a little bit about the similarities between what we saw last night in the men's Royal Rumble and another Royal Rumble in Royal Rumble history, 1995. You recall in the year in review in 1995, WWF year in review in 1995, I mentioned that going in, I did not know who was going to win the Royal Rumble. Nobody did. Because usually in most Royal Rumbles from 1988 to now, 2025, we can pretty much tell who's going to win based on who has a lot of momentum in the main event scene. Like last year, for example, everybody pretty much knew that it was written in stone that Cody Rhodes would win the Royal Rumble. The year before that, same thing. Cody Rhodes had a lot of momentum coming back from injury and also being gone from WWE and in the Indies and ROH and AEW, you know, uh, from 2016 to 2022. So we pretty much knew that. The year before that, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns is a classic trilogy. They wrestled each other at WrestleMania 31. They wrestled each other at 34, and they again wrestled each other at WrestleMania 38. In 2022, 2021, we didn't kind of know, but Edge was a main event star. He had just come back the year before, so that was kind of expected. Drew McIntyre, same thing. In 2020, he was a big star climbing up. He had that feud with Brock Lesnar. That was kind of known. 2019, Seth Rollins, and so on and so on, going all the way back to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Hacksaw Duggan won the first Royal Rumble, right? We didn't know what to really expect because it was the first Royal Rumble and they never had a match like that. But 1995, people didn't people didn't know what to expect. There was nobody in 1995 that was in the Royal Rumble match that was in the main event scene, at all. Yes, Diesel was the champion, and Diesel and Shawn Michaels had that feud going in because Shawn Michaels turned on Diesel at the Survivor Series, and they were former tag team partners and they were, former tag team champions and stuff. But nobody really knew what to expect. And Shawn Michaels was a mid carder. Shawn Michaels, he had been an Intercontinental champion for 2 times. He had been in a couple main events like Survivor Series 1992 against Bret Hart, but not really, was not really a main event player. And like Jey Uso, he was kind of a mid carder, a mid carder slash tag team wrestler. He come out of the tag team division with the Rockers and had been a tag team champion with Diesel, like I said, and mostly a tag team wrestler, not really a main event wrestler. But it was the Royal Rumble and his performance in the Royal Rumble that catapulted him to face Diesel at WrestleMania 11. It wasn't the main event, but it was the semi-main, like this one will be a semi-main. So look at the similarities. Both have been Intercontinental champion. Both came out of the tag division and just now making a name for themselves in the singles division. And both, despite what WWF wanted at the time, in '95, both are huge baby faces because the fan, WWF wanted at that time the fans to cheer Diesel and boo Shawn Michaels, but they ended up cheering Shawn Michaels, through it, and Shawn Michaels the night after WrestleMania 11 turned babyface. So what I'm saying is the match itself, the Royal Rumble match, catapulted Shawn Michaels to the next level in '95, much the same way it's doing for Jey Uso 30 years later. Jey Uso is on the cusp of fulfilling, that next level, that next step into main event status. Rarely does the actual Royal Rumble match make somebody, introduce somebody. Usually it's somebody that we all know. It's not the only two times this has happened in Royal Rumble history. Another example of this is Shinsuke Nakamura. In 2018, Shinsuke Nakamura was brand new to the roster. Shinsuke Nakamura was a complete unknown, a complete mystery card, and he won the Royal Rumble in 2018. So it's happened three times in history, but I think the similarities between Jey Uso and Shawn Michaels are much more prominent. Like I said, both mid-carders, both known as mid-carders, both tag team wrestlers, and both have competed in the Intercontinental Division. So we'll see. Only time can tell. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Jey Uso is not the wrestler that Shawn Michaels was. If anybody's the new Shawn Michaels of this new era of WWE, it's definitely Seth Rollins. But I'm just saying their Royal Rumble wins are very similar. They're very similar in how they won the Royal Rumble. So we got to see, if in the future Jey Uso is able to be the kind of star that Shawn Michaels was later able to be, catapulted there by the Royal Rumble. I mean, think about it. Um, uh, WrestleMania 11 was Shawn Michaels' first real main event program. The match with Bret Hart at Survivor Series '92 wasn't really a main event program. Bret Hart had just won the title, and they inserted somebody in there because the former champion Ric Flair was working a tag match underneath with Razor Ramon against Mr. Perfect and Macho Man. So they needed a main event match. They just put Shawn Michaels in there because he had chemistry with Bret Hart from the tag division days. The Hart Foundation versus the Rockers. It'd be similar to okay, putting if he was still able to wrestle Big E, right? Putting Big E in a program with Jey Uso because both now are singles guys, and the Usos and New Day used to go back and forth. you know, so that's the historical comparison that I make between the two. Jey Uso very similar to Shawn Michaels. When I saw that, I'm like, oh shit, this is just like 1995. Unlike 1995, though, the Royal Rumble match was very good. 1995 was the Royal Rumble match was a lackluster match. There were shorter time intervals and there were less competitors. We had guys like Dick Murdoch in the match. And the event centered around Pamela Anderson rather than, the championship match between Diesel and Bret Hart or the Royal Rumble match itself. And uh, like Diesel, like Shawn Michaels with Diesel, Jey Uso already has a program with Gunther going in. They wrestled each other at Saturday night's main event. So, they wrestled each other in the Intercontinental Division before. So the program's already there. Obviously, he's going to choose Gunther. He's not going to choose Cody Rhodes. Um, I believe that the Cody Rhodes' match at WrestleMania will be against John Cena. In exchange for John Cena putting over Jey Uso last night because John Cena was the real odds-on favorite, in my opinion, and was going to win. Obviously, he was the last, the last two remaining, and the shock on Cena's face, the way he sold it when he was eliminated, was priceless. So they're going to reward him with a passing of the torch moment between him and Cody Rhodes. In the same way that The Rock passed the torch to him at WrestleMania 29, in the same way that Hulk Hogan passed the torch to The Rock at WrestleMania 18, in the same way that Hulk Hogan passed the torch to the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. Uh, you know, or Andre the Giant passed the torch to Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3. This passing of the torch thing has been a theme since WrestleMania 3. So, you know, uh, this is going to be no different. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, the star of the previous era versus the star of this biggest era. In another match, that started, the biggest babyface of the last era versus the biggest babyface of this era. And another match is going to be is Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus um, CM Punk. CM Punk was eliminated by Roman Reigns. There's always been tension between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, especially when CM Punk left the WWE. He he did that interview on Colt Cabana's podcast. People remember it, where he said he was going to be a member of the Shield, and then they inserted Leote, which is Roman Reigns' real first name, Simone. They inserted him into the Shield and took CM Punk out of the Shield and just made the Shield interfere in his match with Ryback at Survivor Series 2012. Right? So when CM Punk came back at Survivor Series 2023, we're like, okay, this is a natural rivalry to be made, in addition to Seth Rollins, in addition to Drew McIntyre, and in addition to um, uh, other wrestlers. So, and Seth Rollins and CM Punk already have great chemistry. They already have great matches. That match in the Raw debut of Netflix, a classic. So, and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, I mean, that history writes itself. That has to do with the Shield as well. So, we're seeing that, play out. But like I said, I see the historical similarities between Jey Uso and Shawn Michaels, and both use a super kick. That's another similarity. So, it worked out well for Shawn Michaels. It didn't work out so well for Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, he's still there. He's U.S. champion right now. But he never became a huge main eventer off the back of WrestleMania 34. And so what? Jey Uso gets semi-main. That's another similarity to 1995. Because remember, Diesel and Shawn Michaels, like I said, was not main event. LT and Bam Bam Bigelow was the actual main event for WrestleMania 11. So the actual main event for this will be John Cena, who's a mainstream celebrity, much like LT was. They don't need it. They don't need mainstream celebrities when you got John Cena and The Rock coming back. Back-to-back years. You got John Cena and you got The Rock and you got Logan Paul. So on your roster occasionally. So they don't need mainstream celebrities, and this will be a huge rub for Cody Rhodes. I think not as huge as a one-on-one match with The Rock would have been. A one-on-one match with The Rock would have been a bigger rub because The Rock is a bigger star than Cena. But Cena himself got the rub from The Rock, just like The Rock got the rub from Hogan, and Hogan didn't really get the rub from Andre because Andre was a star, being in The Princess Bride, and a national star in wrestling because he He toured around all the territories in the 1970s. But Hulk Hogan was already a big star with the rub from Cyndi Lauper and the Rock and Wrestling connection, in '85. So he didn't really need the rub from Andre. It just made him a bigger star. 93,000 plus Pontiac Silverdome, WrestleMania 3. But we'll see how this plays out. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell button. See my next video is coming up.